Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, Top 1 Financial Advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. Hello and happy Monday to everybody. Today's video, we need to talk about the rest of this week and next week. So think of this as a little bit of a look ahead on things that should be on your calendar and you should be aware of, because there could be a little bit of market volatility. Now in this video, we're going to focus mostly on earnings, tell you everything you need to know, and then some key dates that you want to have on your calendar, or again, just be aware of. So first, let's define earnings for those who may be new. You could subscribe to the channel within the last month, and it's also January 2023. So top of the year, let's kind of get all the definitions and stuff out the way. So earnings are when companies tell us how well they did. It's a great time to learn. They put out these large reports, sometimes 80 or 90 pages or so, and they tell us everything they did last year, what they expect coming up this year, and it gives us investors, the best time to sit down and learn about the business and what they plan on doing moving forward. They tell us how much money they made, if they're planning on expanding their workforce or cutting their workforce, unfortunately. And again, it just gives us a really good comprehensive picture of how well they did or how well they did not do. And again, most importantly for me, what they plan on doing moving forward. So obviously, the market tends to move a lot around this time, and we may also hear some news out of the Federal Reserve in the next 2 weeks or so too. So also keep that on the calendar. Now, when you hit earnings season, which happens 4 times per year, you get market turbulence sometimes. Sometimes earnings go well, everything is fine, or the market even takes a jump during this time, or earnings are bad and everybody gets afraid and the market takes a significant dip. This happened a lot last year, and we're going to see whether or not that's going to be true this year. Now the next 2 weeks, this week and next week, are going to be extremely important because some of the major tech companies, Microsoft, Apple, Google, so on and so forth, they are going to tell us how well they did. And the reason why that's important is because they're the largest companies in the US, and they represent really more than they should out of the S&P 500, the 500 largest companies in the US. So I would say, I think like the 5, and there's an official stat that's out there, and I can probably put it on the screen here or something, but out of Microsoft, Apple, Google, Meta, you can throw Nvidia in there, that is like, of those 5, that's close to 20, sometimes 30% of the entire stock market between like 5 or 6 companies. Okay, that's a lot. And if they all do terribly, then the market kind of just follows in that direction, because again, that's 30% of the market, 25% of the market, whatever the number is, just between a few companies, and they all report within the same week or so. So we need to talk about what's going on this week. So I'm just going to go over just the few that are standing out to me, and you can use this list in 2 ways. 1, just be aware of what's going on. 2, if you invest in any of these companies, you want to know what's going on. This doesn't mean, oh my God, I need to invest in these stocks now or sell these stocks now. I don't really see it that way. I see it as a learning opportunity to take this and put it into my puzzle for 2023, so I can understand what is going on and understand what I may or may not need to do moving forward. One example, just one example here, is how we've seen all these layoffs in the tech space. I have some other thoughts there we can talk about later this week, but in either case, that's telling me that perhaps a Google is not as profitable as what we thought it was, right? Perhaps there's a slowdown in the tech space. Now that's obvious now, right? We saw that in 2022, but because they're cutting back for a reason. And some companies are not cutting back, which tells us something, right? For example, all these companies you've been hearing cutting people, you saw Google, 12,000, between Amazon and Microsoft, that was 28,000 that was cut. You know who hadn't cut? Not a single person yet? Apple. Yeah, Apple has cut 0 people this entire time, which tells me their business might be healthier than some of these others. One of these is not the same, right? And that's as of the time that we're doing this. So hopefully things don't change in the next week or 2, but they're the only major tech company that has not made any cutbacks. So just to point that out, okay? All right, so starting off with, these are just the ones that stood out to me. Starting off tomorrow, we're going to hear from Microsoft. Microsoft did announce a major layoff in the last 2 weeks. Microsoft is one of the biggest company holdings that I have. I don't call any company invincible, but if I did, they would be one of the ones up there. But obviously, they have had a slowdown in 2022. That's going to tell us a lot about the tech space. While it is not equivalent, Microsoft is not equivalent to Apple or Google or anything like that, Alphabet technically, but it is something that's extremely important, and they're going through a merger or acquisition. I forget which company they're trying to buy out now, Activision. Every year or so, I feel like they try and buy somebody else. But in either case, I'm interested to see where that is, if they're going to bring it up, and how well they have done or not have done in 2022. I do want a new data point to understand where the business is. Next, on Wednesday, we are going to hear from Tesla. Tesla is an interesting one. It's always a buzzworthy news topic because of the CEO and the electrification of vehicles as a whole. They are the ones who are leading this space now. I will also say that while Tesla, I think, will continue to be in the lead for electric vehicles, I would say at least for another 8 years, people are going to catch up at some point. Now, just because they catch up doesn't mean that Tesla has to fall back and the stock won't be valuable. That's not a guarantee. But I am wondering, how long are they going to keep that lead? I've compared Tesla to Netflix. Right now, Netflix stock is good now. However, the environment for Netflix, when it was a stock of the decade, last decade, it might not be that moving forward because of all these different competitors and how the landscape has absolutely shifted. Tesla cannot keep this lead for forever. That's not going to be a thing. So I'm just curious. I'm not calling for the end of Tesla or anything like that, but I am curious as how will the stock respond, because on paper, they've done everything right. They've been producing more vehicles, they've made more money, but the stock has fallen. In reality, if you're looking at just Tesla in and of itself, it should not be down the way it is, even though Elon is doing whatever he's doing. Technically, that should be separate. In reality, it should be separate, but apparently his attention affects the stock, which shouldn't happen that way, but it is what it is. So curious to see how well or not well Tesla is going to do on Wednesday. Thursday of this week, we've got both MasterCard and Visa. That's going to be extremely important, not just for the investors of that, but because Visa and MasterCard are going to tell us how people are spending, right? Are they seeing more transactions? Are those transactions slowing down? That's going to be a data point, not necessarily a red flag, but a data point on whether we're going into recession and how bad that's going to be. If they start to say transactions are normal, things are fine, the market's probably going to be fine. If they say people are taking on way more debt and that people are not paying things on time, then you're going to start to see an issue. So I will be kind of keeping an ear out to see how well those companies are doing what they report. In addition to that, we're going to hear from American Express on Friday. Same thing here, just from a different vantage point, because each of these companies have a different clientele. American Express caters a little bit more to business, a little bit more to higher net worth individuals, and that's a different market, and it's also a smaller market compared to what the other two, Visa and MasterCard, are seeing and saying. So I want to see from all three angles, what are people saying, right? What are investors saying? What are these companies saying about the state of the economy? I think they have a much different view than banks, because banks make the majority of their money on loans, not necessarily me having a savings account or me having a checking account. Yes, they have that data, but they're really talking about loan loss reserves, right? That is the money they hold back in case you don't pay your mortgage or you don't pay your credit card or something like that. Well, or business loans as well. But that only tells me a part of the story. What about my daily transactions? Am I going out to shop at Home Depot like I was in 2020? No, right? So I think an American Express, Visa, and MasterCard can tell us a lot of information on what to expect and whether this recession thing is going to be a major thing, a major theme in 2023. All right, last ones. Now, this is going into next week, so this will be Wednesday, February 1st, and Thursday, February 2nd. On Wednesday, we get Meta, and I think it is on February 2nd, which would be Thursday, is both Amazon and Google. So thankfully this year, Meta, Amazon, Google are not all on the exact same week like they were at different points last year. I'm glad they spread this out just a bit, because there's a lot of news to cover for me and there's a lot of turbulence to go on for the market. Now, just because earnings happen doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good or bad, but stocks can be a little chaotic during earnings season. And one example again is last year with Netflix, it dropped 25% in a single day. That's how crazy things can be. Also, this time last year when Nvidia said that we've had the best quarter that we've had in the last 40 quarters, so like 10 years, said that again, best quarter they had in 10 years, the stock dropped like 8 or 9%. It's like, what's going on here. So always remember, keep your emotions even keel. Just sit back, learn, mind your business, or turn off notifications on your phone if you have to. The last thing that you're probably thinking is this: where can I find out when earnings are announced, and how can I at least stay abreast of it? There are a few ways to do that. Number one, you can just Google company earnings day and it'll give you the next upcoming earnings day. You can also go to the company's website. Now, if you're looking up a bunch of different stocks, that can be a little tedious, and I don't suggest that you do that unless you are looking for a specific company. One way that I like to do it on the public app, you can hit the search button, and I'm kind of pointing it out here, but hit the search button and actually go to the calendar in the top right hand corner of the app, and you can scroll through and it'll tell you the earnings dates of any companies that you need to know. And if you click into it, it'll show you even more companies. It usually kind of highlights the most important ones or the largest ones. You can go in and look to some of the others. That's what I did for this video. So it's just important just to know, if you're just a buy and hold investor, primarily like I am, I'm not changing any of my stocks at all until June. I'm gonna take a look at that point. Again, this isn't a time for you to like buy or sell or react. It's just a time to sit back and learn. What this tells me as an investor is Microsoft okay, right? And if it's not, then come June, I will sit back and make a decision. If Microsoft is on the up and up, great. I will probably buy more this coming Friday or whenever my designated time is for me to continue buying stocks. That's it. That's all you need to know for earnings. Is just that they tell us how well they do. They do it 4 times a year. It's a time for you to just continue to learn and decide what it is you want to invest in, or just what you need to know and be ready for in a year like this, which is 2023. We are 23 days into it. So we got a lot to go, but I am curious, and you should be curious, and this is just a time to sit back and learn and just absorb the information that they are about to drop on us in the next 2 weeks. All right, so last thing I'll say here, remember the members only is open to you for deep dive detailed breakdowns for any of the stocks that we mentioned, and I do Q&As for a lot of our people inside there as well. I'm looking at doing a list on, we still need to do our list on REITs, but also on cyclical stocks, which might be quite valuable. So we'll talk about that. One of those 2 topics, we'll flip a coin, or we'll probably do a vote to talk about that, but it's only going to be inside the members only. So this is your chance to go ahead and join. It's only $10 a month, 1 video a week. It is extremely valuable, and I'm sure that you are going to get way more than $10 a month out of value out of it. So make sure you go ahead and hit that link here. All right, that is it for me. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Oh, one more thing I forgot to tell y'all. Okay, so it's 2023. We've been doing this for, now I've been doing Building Bread for, it'll be 13 years this year. And we've been doing the channel seriously for at least 3 years. So I got a question, y'all. I'm thinking about kind of giving the channel like a theme per day. So like, I don't know, breakdown Mondays, how-to Tuesdays, or something. Like every single week, every single day, there's like a certain thing that we consistently do. Do you want that format, or would you rather me just see what's out in the news and just talk about it day to day? We can do like Q&A Wednesdays or whatever. Let me know what format you are looking at, because this is y'all channel, right? I put out a survey for my email list to get what their thoughts were. I want to know what your thoughts are and how we can kind of keep the channel fresh, but also keep the channel helpful for you. So again, do you want themes? Do you want Q&A? Do you want it to be more freestyle, where I'm just looking out to Twitter and looking at the news and seeing what's important? Let me know what you think. I don't know what the theme days would be. I'll let y'all know that if y'all decide that's the route y'all want to go. So help me help you, help me to organize the channel in a way that makes sense. All right, that is it for me this time, for real. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.